All right, guys. So today I'm going to talk about carb cycling, how to set up a carb cycling diet, what is a carb cycling diet, and why I think that carb cycling is the most effective way to lose body fat and retain muscle. So, right off the bat, I'm going to say that I don't always use a carb cycling diet with all my clients because one negative factor to carb cycling is that the nature of the diet strategy is very hard to adhere to for a lot of people because it requires you to do multiple days in a row where you don't consume any direct carbohydrate sources. So that's things like oats and rice and yams and potatoes and bread, and those are direct carbohydrate sources. So that being said, one of my basic beliefs in dieting is that adherence is number one. So that means someone's ability to actually stick to the diet is going to be the most important factor, because if you can't do that, you can't lose weight. So I will choose to use carb cycling for people who are very, very dedicated to the plan. And they're obviously very serious. And also for some people, I actually have two clients currently who have been on and off different diet strategies. And I recently decided to try carb cycling with them, and it's actually working really, 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 really well. Their weight loss has never been so good. It's not always the case that it's hard to adhere to, but just the nature of the diet makes it a little bit tricky because, with certain people's lifestyles and things like that, it's like when you can't eat any carbohydrates, it can make it tough on your lifestyle. And it's kind of shocking, right? I mean, most people are used to eating carbohydrates. The way that it makes you feel when you eat them and the way it makes you feel when you don't have any in your system can be fairly unpleasant when you first start doing it. So let's move on. Carb cycling is simply just cycling through one of your macronutrient sources that you eat every day, your carbohydrates, obviously. This isn't like some magic diet plan like, keto or whatever fasting, intermittent fasting, where, it claims magical results. No, there's not that isn't real. Carb cycling is where I'll give you an example. So it would be something like 2 days or 3 days low carbohydrate, so no carbohydrates. So that means that the food that you're eating is coming from protein and fat, and then vegetables, and breaking it down even further, low starch vegetables, vegetables that don't have a high amount of trace carbohydrates within them already. So examples of high carb vegetables would be something like broccoli, whereas an example of a low carb vegetable would be something like spinach, or asparagus, green beans, maybe, stuff like that. Where higher carb vegetables, and again, would be maybe like peppers, because like bell peppers, because they have a little bit more sugar in them. So with my clients, and when I give them their program, I always include a list of vegetables that are good for high carb days and vegetables that are for low carb days. So I've gotten off track again, obviously. So cycling through your carbohydrates. So the example is, say, 3 days low carbohydrate. So for 3 days in a row, the food that you're eating in a day is coming from protein, fat, and vegetables. And then 1 day high carb. So we're going to switch the carbohydrates down to low, down to high, up to high. This is just a one take. These are all one take. So stick with me. So once we get to a high carb day, you're going to get the majority of your macronutrients from carbohydrates. So then we're going to go lower protein, not low protein, because we're always trying to maintain that protein synthesis inside our body, make sure that our muscles are being fed and repaired. So let's say moderate protein, and this is how I set up my diets for my clients. Okay, this is what I believe. So a high carb day on a carb cycling diet for one of my clients is going to look like the majority of your calories are going to come from carbohydrates, then protein, and then usually very, very low fat on high carb days, because that's just the way that I believe it should be done. So you're going to be eating meals like rice and oats, potatoes, yams, things like that. And then with meat protein, no direct fat sources. So no nuts, no oils, nothing like that. And then on those days you might, if you were having eggs, you might have 1 or 2 whole eggs with egg whites. Whereas on a low carb day, we would use all whole eggs to get the fats from the eggs. Okay, so that is the way that the diet is structured, and it might be 2 low days, 1 high, right? And then as you progress, as the need for change, as your body adapts, then we would switch to maybe 3 low days, and maybe even 4 low days in a row, and then 1 refeed of a carbohydrate day. So I'll get into why that is. So there's a few really good reasons why I might use a diet like this. Okay, so one of them is that it keeps your metabolism firing, and that is very important. It keeps your metabolism burning like a furnace. Okay, so when you continually tax your metabolism, when you diet and train, your metabolism is a function in your body that's going to adapt, and it's going to stall weight loss, right? Because it's trying to stop you from starving. That's just the very, very basics of what your metabolism does. So let's just leave it at that for this video. So by carb cycling, we are taxing it. We're bringing your body into a state of fat burning. We're depleting your glycogen stores. So your body is now, after 1, 2, 3 days of low carbs and high volume energy output, training, your NEAT, all that, your body is in a state of fat burning. And then once we tax it too hard, where metabolic damage is potentially occurring, then we refeed it, we boost it back up. By eating carbohydrates, we're putting glycogen, which is stored energy in the muscle, back into our body, okay? So we're depleting, bringing it down, and then we're spiking, resetting it, and then starting the process all over again. And that's how it goes, up and down, okay? So instead of a normal diet, low calorie restricted diet, where you would just tax yourself, go down, and then your metabolism adapts and there's nowhere to go, and you're starving and you're doing hours of cardio and there's nowhere left to go. With carb cycling, we bring you down and then we boost you back up. So, I would say the main reason why I believe that cycling your carbohydrates is so good is because it really allows your metabolism to just continue to work. And like I said, this isn't magic. This is what everyone does. This is what I did on my prep, right? It's just